The massive silver ship hung in space above Earth like a floating city. Ambassador Valeth pressed his long, slender fingers against the viewing window and watched the blue planet spin slowly below. His deer-like ears twitched with nervous energy. After 300 years of searching, the Galactic Council had finally found another intelligent species. "They call themselves humans," said Dr. Korth, the Council's chief scientist. His rabbit-like nose wiggled as he spoke. "Early scans show they have built cities, developed technology, and even reached their moon." Valeth nodded. "Good. The Council always welcomes peaceful species. Have you prepared the standard greeting?" "Yes, Ambassador. We will invite them to join our great alliance of civilized worlds." The Galactic Council had been the galaxy's governing body for over 2,000 years. It was made up of dozens of species who had learned that cooperation was better than conflict. The Valathi, with their graceful movements and plant-based diet, served as diplomats. The Korthans, quick and clever, handled science and technology. The Zixians, with their beautiful feathers and musical voices, managed culture and communication. All of them had one thing in common. They were prey species who had survived by being smart instead of strong. Dr. Korth activated the communication array. "People of Earth, this is Dr. Korth of the Galactic Council. We come in peace. We wish to meet with your leaders and welcome you to the greater community of intelligent life." The response came faster than expected. "This is President Martinez of Earth. We welcome you to our solar system. Please send a small delegation to our space station." Within hours, Valeth and his team were aboard the human space station. The Tide humans who greeted them looked strange. They walked upright like council species, but something felt different. Their eyes faced forward instead of to the sides. Their teeth included sharp, pointed ones. And they moved with a confidence that made Valeth uncomfortable. "Welcome to humanity," said General Harrison, a tall man in a green uniform. "We're excited to learn about other intelligent life." The cultural exchange began immediately. Humans showed the aliens their art, music, and technology. The council delegates shared stories of their peaceful worlds and successful cooperation. But Dr. Korth could not stop studying the humans themselves. During a break, he pulled Valeth aside. "Ambassador, I need to run some tests. Something about these humans worries me." "What do you mean?" "Look at their anatomy. Forward-facing eyes suggest they track moving prey. Those teeth are designed for tearing meat. And watch how they move. They do not scan for danger like we do. They look for opportunities." Valeth dismissed the concern. "Many species eat meat, Doctor. That does not make them dangerous." But Dr. Korth insisted on running his scans. He studied human DNA, analyzed their bone structure, and researched their history through their own records. What he found made his fur stand on end. Humans were persistence hunters. Their ancestors had chased prey animals across vast distances until the prey collapsed from exhaustion. Even worse, they had evolved from pack hunters who worked together to bring down larger, stronger animals. The doctor's hands shook as he read further. Human history was filled with warfare. They fought each other constantly, and each war made them better at fighting. They did not avoid conflict like civilized species. They seemed to seek it out. "Ambassador," Dr. Korth whispered urgently, "we need to leave. Now." "What? Why?" "These humans are not like us. They are predators. Apex predators." Valeth's eyes widened. "That's impossible. Predator species never develop advanced civilization. They destroy themselves fighting." "Not these ones. They learn to work together. They turn their hunting instincts into cooperation. But Ambassador, they still hunt. Look at this." Dr. Korth showed him human entertainment. Movies about hunting dangerous creatures. Sports where humans fought each other. Video games where the goal was to eliminate enemies. Even their children played games that involved hunting and fighting. "They enjoy conflict," Dr. Korth said. "They see it as entertainment." The final piece of evidence came from human military records. Humans had weapons that could destroy their entire planet. They had built these weapons not because they needed them, but because they could. They prepared for wars that might never come. Ambassador Valeth felt sick. "How many of them are there?" 8 billion on their planet, and they are expanding into space. That evening, Velith called an emergency meeting with the ship's senior staff. Around the conference table sat representatives from a dozen species. All of them had evolved from prey animals. All of them had built their civilizations on avoiding predators. "Ladies and gentlemen," Velith began, "we have a problem. The humans are not what they seem." He shared Dr. Korth's findings. The room grew, silent as the implications became clear. Captain Zixa, her bright blue feathers ruffled with fear, spoke first. "If they are pack hunters, they will not stay on their world. They will expand. They will hunt." "What do they hunt?" asked Commander Thex, his long ears flat against his head. "Everything," Dr. Korth replied. "Their records show they hunt for food, for sport, for trophies, and sometimes just for the challenge. They have hunted their own planet's apex predators to near extinction." The silence stretched on. Finally, Velith made the decision that would change the galaxy forever. "We classify them as a Class 7 predatory threat, maximum danger level." Gasps filled the room. No species had ever been given a Class 7 rating. "What does that mean for first contact?" asked Captain Zixa. "It means we end it. We establish a quarantine zone around their solar system. We do not let them spread to other worlds." "But Ambassador," protested Dr. Korth, "they have not attacked us. They have been friendly." "That is what makes them so dangerous," Velith replied. "They are intelligent enough to appear peaceful while they study us. They are learning our weaknesses." Within hours, the human delegation noticed the change. The aliens became distant and nervous. When General Harrison asked why, Velith struggled to find the right words. "We have learned much about your species," he finally said. "We believe it would be best if we ended cultural exchange for now." General Harrison's eyes narrowed. Those forward-facing predator eyes that seemed to look right through Velith. "I see," the human said quietly. "You're afraid of us." "We are simply being cautious. Because you figured out what we are." Velith said nothing, but his silence was answer enough. General Harrison smiled, showing those sharp canine teeth. "You know, General, in all our movies about meeting aliens, we always worried about the aliens being the dangerous ones. We never considered that we might be the monsters." "You are not monsters," Velith said quickly. "You are simply different." "Different," Harrison repeated. "Well, Ambassador, I hope this difference doesn't cause problems between our peoples." But as the alien ship left Earth's orbit, Velith knew it already had. The message he sent to the Galactic Council would reach every member world within days. The peaceful galaxy that had existed for millennia was about to change forever. And deep in his heart, Velith suspected that no quarantine zone would be strong enough to contain a species that had evolved to hunt the hunters. The emergency session of the Galactic Council had been called within 12 hours of Ambassador Velith's report reaching the capital world of Harmony Prime. Representatives from 47 species filled the great chamber, their worried voices creating a symphony of fear. High Chancellor Marin, eldest of the Valathi, called for silence with a gentle chime. Her ancient voice carried across the chamber. "Fellow council members, we face an unprecedented situation. A predator species has achieved spaceflight and advanced technology. Dr. Korth will present his findings." Dr. Korth's ears trembled as he activated the holographic display. Images of humans filled the air above the assembly. The delegates gasped at the sight of those forward-facing eyes and predatory teeth. "Honored Council, these humans represent everything our ancestors feared. They are pack hunters who never lost their killing instincts. Their entire planet is a hunting ground." The display showed human cities built on the bones of ancient civilizations, armies marching across continents, wars that lasted for years, with humans fighting other humans simply because they could. "Most disturbing," Dr. Korth continued, "is their relationship with conflict. Where we evolved to avoid danger, they evolved to seek it. They call it competition, sport, entertainment. They have turned killing into art." Delegate Quicks of the Korthans raised a paw. "But surely they can be reasoned with. They did seem willing to talk." That is what makes them so dangerous, replied Dr. Korth. They are intelligent predators. They study their prey before they strike. The chamber erupted in frightened chatter. Some delegates called for immediate military action. Others suggested offering the humans everything they wanted in exchange for staying away. High Chancellor Marin restored order. The Science Council recommends immediate quarantine. We will establish a containment zone around their solar system. No human ship will be allowed to leave. No council ship will enter. The vote was unanimous. Within days, the largest fleet in Council history surrounded Earth's solar system. Thousands of ships from dozens of worlds formed a defensive barrier. The message to humanity was clear: stay home. But the galaxy was not entirely populated by prey species. On the rim worlds, where space was dark and dangerous, other eyes watched the Council's panic with interest. These were the worlds where the galaxy's predator species had been pushed after millennia of Council expansion. In the steel caves of Krill Prime, the Mantis Lords stirred. The Krillian Empire had once ruled a quarter of the galaxy before the Council's ancestors had united against them. Now they existed in the shadows, bitter and hungry. War Commander Skix spread his forearms wide as he addressed his fellow Mantis Lords. His compound eyes reflected the cold light of their underground chamber. The soft ones fear these humans, he clicked in the harsh Krillian language. Perhaps we should meet these predators ourselves. Are they threat or opportunity? Asked Battle Mother Vex, her razor-sharp claws scraping against stone. That remains to be seen. But any species that frightens the Council this much deserves our attention. Meanwhile, in the pack worlds of the Vorth Consortium, a different conversation was taking place. The wolf-like Vorth had maintained an uneasy peace with the Council, trading their military services for the right to exist. Pack leader Fenris studied the human images with keen yellow eyes. Unlike the Krillians, who were solitary hunters, the Vorth understood pack dynamics. What he saw in the humans looked familiar. They hunt in groups, he said to his lieutenants. Like us, but their packs are larger. Should we fear them, pack leader? Asked Scout Alpha Raven. Perhaps. Or perhaps we should speak with them. It has been long since we met others who understand the hunt. Back on Earth, President Martinez stood in the Situation Room, surrounded by military advisors and scientists. The alien quarantine had been in place for 3 weeks, and humanity was beginning to understand their position. So let me get this straight, the president said. They're afraid of us because we're predators? That's the assessment, sir, replied Dr. Sarah Chen, the mission's chief xenobiologist. Every species in their council evolved from prey animals. To them, we're the monsters from their nightmares. General Harrison, who had met with the aliens, shook his head. We offered them friendship, and they responded with a blockade. Can we break through? Asked the president. Admiral Rodriguez pulled up star charts. Their fleet is massive, sir. Thousands of ships. But our intelligence suggests their technology is defensive in nature. They're not warriors. What about these other species Dr. Chen mentioned? The predators? Unknown, sir. The Council pushed them to the edge of the galaxy centuries ago. We have no direct intelligence on their capabilities. The president made a decision that would echo across the stars. We're not staying in our solar system like prisoners. If they want to treat us like dangerous predators, maybe it's time to show them what human predators can actually do. He turned to General Harrison. Begin Project Apex. I want our best pilots, our fastest ships, and our most advanced weapons ready for action. What's the mission, sir? We're going hunting. The first sign that the quarantine would not hold came 3 days later. A patrol of Council ships detected an unknown vessel approaching from the galactic rim. It was sleek, black, and fast. Captain Thex of the Valathi Defense Force hailed the approaching ship. Unknown vessel, you are entering a restricted zone. Please identify yourself. The response came in a language the ship's computers had never heard. Then, without warning, the unknown vessel accelerated beyond anything the Council had thought possible. The ship buzzed the patrol formation, moving, so fast that the Council vessels couldn't track it properly. But it didn't attack. Instead, it seemed to be studying them, learning their formations and weapons. Captain Thex tried to follow, but his ship was designed for defense, not pursuit. The unknown vessel disappeared into the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. "Report to command," Thex said to his communications officer. "Tell them we have a problem. Something else is interested in the humans." On the bridge of the mysterious ship, War Commander Skix studied the sensor readings of the Council vessels. His compound eyes gleamed with satisfaction. "Weak ships," he clicked to his crew. "Designed by prey for prey." "What of the humans, War Commander?" asked his second. "We will test them. If they are true predators, they will respond to a challenge. If they are merely animals with tools, we will crush them quickly." Deep in the ship's weapon bays, Krillian warriors prepared their hunting gear. Each was a perfect killing machine, evolved over millions of years to be the ultimate solo hunter. They had never met prey that could fight back effectively. They were about to learn what American military training could do to change those odds. Meanwhile, pack leader Fenris was making his own preparations. The Vorth ship moved through hyperspace, toward the Sol system, carrying a message of potential alliance. Unlike the Krillians, Fenris understood that the most dangerous predators were those who hunted in coordinated packs. And from what he had seen of human military formations, these new predators might be the most dangerous pack hunters the galaxy had ever seen. The galaxy was about to discover that 8 billion apex predators with nuclear weapons and a competitive streak was something none of them were prepared for. General Patricia Hayes stood in the Pentagon's most classified briefing room, watching as scientists and military strategists filled the chairs around the massive table. Project Apex had been active for only 2 weeks, but it had already become the most important military program in human history. "Ladies and gentlemen," she began, "the aliens think we're dangerous. They're right, but they don't understand just how dangerous." Dr. Chen activated the holographic display, showing the alien fleet surrounding their solar system. "The Galactic Council has 47 member species, all evolved from prey animals. They've never dealt with a predator species that achieved technology." "What about these other predators they mentioned?" asked Colonel Martinez from the Air Force. "2 main groups," replied Dr. Chen. "The Krillians are individual hunters like giant mantises, very dangerous one-on-one. The Vorth are pack hunters, similar to wolves. Both were pushed to the edge of the galaxy by the Council." General Hayes nodded. "Our intelligence suggests both groups are now moving toward Earth. The Krillians seem aggressive. The Vorth might be looking for allies." Admiral Thompson leaned forward. "What's our strategy, General?" "Simple," Hayes replied. "We show the galaxy what American military doctrine can do. We're not staying locked up in our solar system. If they want to see predators, we'll give them a demonstration they'll never forget." The first element of the American doctrine was already in motion. 3 modified F-35 fighters hung in space near the asteroid belt, their pilots waiting for contact with the mysterious black ship that had buzzed the alien patrols. Captain Jake, Reaper Williams checked his instruments one more time. The F-35 had been modified with experimental technology reverse-engineered from alien scanner data. It wasn't pretty, but it worked. "Reaper, this is Control," came the voice in his headset. "Bogey approaching from your 6 o'clock, moving fast. Copy that, Control. Viper 2 and Viper 3, let's go say hello." The Krillian scout ship emerged from behind an asteroid, its black hull gleaming in the starlight. War Commander Skix studied the 3 small human craft approaching his position. "Primitive," he clicked to his crew. "Chemical rockets and metal shells. This will be quick." But as the human fighters closed in, Skix noticed something strange. They weren't fleeing or trying to establish communication. They were maneuvering into attack formation. "Reaper to Control," came the voice over the radio. "Bogey looks like a big bug. Permission to engage?" "Negative, Reaper. Observe and report." Captain Williams grinned inside his helmet. "Copy that. We're just going to get a closer look." The F-35 split into a wide formation, approaching the alien ship from 3 directions. Skix watched with growing interest. These humans moved like hunters, not prey. When the lead fighter came within weapons range, Skix fired a warning shot. A beam of energy lanced out, missing the human craft by meters. "Well, that was rude," Williams said calmly. Viper 2, did you see that energy signature? Affirmative, Reaper. Looks like directed plasma. Nothing we can't handle. Skix fired again, this time aiming to disable the lead craft. But the human pilot rolled away from the beam with casual ease, then accelerated directly toward the Krillian. Ship. What is it doing? Clicked Skix's weapons officer. The human fighter buzzed the alien ship's hull, passing so close that its wingtip almost scraped the armor plating. Then it pulled up and away, performing a perfect barrel roll as it climbed. Did he just show off? Asked Viper 3. Oh, he's playing with us, Williams replied, his voice filled with delight. Control requesting permission to play back. Reaper, your orders are to observe. We are observing, sir. We're just doing it up close and personal. What happened next would be talked about in military academies for decades. The 3 F-35s began what could only be described as an aerial dance around the alien ship. They dove, climbed, rolled, and spun in formations that should have been impossible in space. Skix tried to target them, but they moved like nothing he had ever hunted. Every time he locked onto one, it would vanish behind another, or perform a maneuver that broke his targeting computer's calculations. War Commander, his pilot said nervously. They are toying with us. Skix's compound eyes narrowed. No, they are showing us what they can do. These are not prey animals. These are apex predators. The demonstration lasted for 20 minutes. The humans never fired a shot, but they proved that the Krillian ship, despite its advanced technology, could not catch or effectively target them. Finally, Captain Williams opened a communication channel. Hey there, bug boy. Tell your friends that humans say hello, and next time you want to dance, bring better music. The F-35s formed up and flew away, leaving Skix staring after them in shock. War Commander, his second officer asked, what are your orders? Skix was quiet for a long moment. Then he clicked what might have been laughter. Send a message to the Hive Lords. Tell them we have found worthy prey. Begin preparations for the grand hunt. Back on Earth, the footage from the encounter was being analyzed by every military intelligence agency in the world, but it was the reaction of the pilots that caught everyone's attention. Did you hear Williams? Asked Dr. Chen as she replayed the audio. He was laughing during combat. He treated a potentially deadly first contact like entertainment. General, Hayes smiled. That's what makes us different, Doctor. We don't just fight to survive, we fight because we enjoy the challenge. The second demonstration came 3 days later when the Vorth ship approached the outer edge of the solar system. Unlike the Krillians, they came broadcasting a message of peace. Humans of Earth, came the transmission in surprisingly good English. I am Pack Leader Fenris of the Vorth Consortium. We wish to speak with your alpha leaders. President Martinez decided to handle this meeting personally. The encounter took place aboard the International Space Station, with full military escort. Pack Leader Fenris was impressive even by human standards. Standing 7 feet tall with silver fur and intelligent yellow eyes, he moved with the controlled grace of a natural predator. Your people have frightened the prey species, he said without preamble. They see you as monsters. And what do you see us as? Asked President Martinez. Fenris smiled, showing sharp white teeth. Fellow hunters, but perhaps more dangerous than even my people. How so? My species hunts in packs of 10 or 20. Your species hunts in packs of millions. You have turned your entire planet into one massive hunting ground, and you compete with each other to become better hunters. The president nodded. The aliens want to keep us locked in our solar system. Yes, they are afraid you will spread across the galaxy like we did long ago. What do you suggest? Fenris leaned forward. Prove that you are the apex predators. Show the galaxy that even the other predator species should fear you. Break their quarantine. Hunt something that has never been hunted before. The Krillians? Perfect. Choice. They believe themselves to be the ultimate individual hunters. They have terrorized this galaxy for millennia. If you can hunt the hunters, the entire galaxy will know what humans are capable of. President Martinez considered this. And if we succeed? Then the Vorth will be honored to call humans our pack brothers. Together we could rule this galaxy. We don't want to rule anyone. We just want our freedom. Fenris laughed, a sound like distant thunder. Spoken like a true apex predator. You are so confident in your abilities that you do not need to dominate others to prove your worth. As the meeting ended, Fenris left the humans with one final piece of advice. The Krillians are preparing for what they call the Grand Hunt. They intend to invade your solar system and prove that humans are inferior prey. I suggest you prepare to teach them otherwise. 2 weeks later, General Hayes stood before a room full of America's finest military personnel. Navy SEALs, Army Rangers, Marine Force Recon, and Air Force Para-Rescue Specialists filled the briefing room. Gentlemen and ladies, she began, you've been selected for humanity's first interstellar hunting expedition. The target is a species that considers itself the galaxy's apex predator. Your mission is to prove them wrong. A hand went up from the SEAL section. What's the rules of engagement, ma'am? Hayes smiled. The Krillians are coming here to hunt humans. We're going to turn the tables, show them what it means to be hunted by Americans. The room erupted in grins and quiet cheers. These were warriors who had trained their entire lives for the ultimate challenge. When do we start? Asked a Marine colonel. They'll be here in 6 weeks. Plenty of time to prepare. Remember, people, this isn't just about defending Earth. This is about establishing humanity's place in the galaxy. Make it count. The Krillian warfleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of Earth's solar system like a swarm of giant metal insects. 50 massive ships, each one a living weapon designed for hunting and killing. War Commander Skik stood on the bridge of his flagship, studying the primitive blue world that had dared to challenge Krillian supremacy. War Commander, reported his scanner officer, the soft council ships are retreating beyond the outer planets. They flee from our approach. Skix clicked his approval. Good. We hunt alone, as it should be. What of the human defenses? Minimal, War Commander. A few small craft moving between their worlds. Some orbital stations. Nothing that can threaten the Great Hunt. But Skix was more careful than his crew. The encounter with the human fighters had taught him that these predators were not to be underestimated. Maintain formation. Send hunter scouts to probe their defenses. We study our prey before we strike. On Earth, General Hayes watched the alien fleets approach from the Pentagon's war room. Banks of screens showed real-time data from satellites, space stations, and patrol ships. Ma'am, reported Colonel Martinez, the Krillian fleet has stopped at the asteroid belt. They're sending out smaller ships. Perfect, Hayes replied. Phase 1 is working. Admiral Thompson, are your people ready? Admiral Thompson nodded from the Naval Command Center. USS Nevada is in position, ma'am. The crew is eager to test their new toys. The USS Nevada was humanity's first space-worthy nuclear submarine, hastily modified with alien technology captured from previous encounters. It drifted silently in the asteroid field, hidden among the space rocks like a predator waiting to strike. Commander Sarah Blake watched her sonar screen as 3 Krillian scout ships approached her position. Each alien vessel was 3 times the size of her submarine, armed with energy weapons that could cut through steel like paper. Contact bearing 040, whispered Sonar Chief Peterson. Range 2,000 meters and closing. All stop, Blake ordered quietly. Silent running. Let them come to us. The Krillian scouts moved through the asteroid field like sharks through water, their sensors probing every shadow. They had hunted for thousands of years and had never encountered prey that could hide from them effectively. Scout Commander Zek studied his instruments with growing frustration. These asteroids interfere with our sensors. The humans could be anywhere. Perhaps there are no humans here, suggested his pilot. Perhaps they hide on their world like the other prey species. No, Zek clicked. I can sense them. They are here, watching, waiting. He was right. Commander Blake had been tracking all 3 scouts for 10 minutes, learning their movement patterns and identifying their weaknesses. Weapons, she whispered. Solution on target 1. Solution ready, ma'am. Fire. The torpedo was not like any weapon the galaxy had seen before. It was a fusion of human engineering and alien technology, guided by artificial intelligence and armed with a nuclear warhead. It moved through space silently, invisible to Krillian sensors until it was too late. The explosion turned Scout Commander Zek's ship into expanding gas and metal fragments. The other two scouts spun around, searching desperately for their attacker. "Where did that come from?" demanded Zek's wing commander. The answer came in the form of 2 more torpedoes, each finding its target with deadly precision. Within 30 seconds, all 3 scout ships were destroyed. But Commander Blake was not finished. As the debris spread through space, her submarine emerged from its hiding place among the asteroids. The crew worked quickly to recover pieces of Krillian technology while the evidence of the attack drifted away. "Control, this is Nevada," Blake reported. 3 targets neutralized, samples recovered, moving to secondary position. On the Krillian flagship, alarms wailed as the loss of the scouts was detected. War Commander Skix stared at his tactical display in disbelief. "Gone?" he clicked. "All 3 scouts?" "Yes, War Commander. No distress signals, no sensor contacts. They simply vanished." Skix's compound eyes gleamed with something that might have been excitement. "Impossible. Nothing can hide from Krillian hunters. Perhaps the humans have better stealth technology than we estimated," suggested his second. "Or perhaps," Skix said, slowly, "they are better hunters than we estimated." The war commander made a decision that would haunt him for the rest of his very short life. "Send in the hunter alphas. If the humans want to play hiding games, we will show them what real hunters can do." The hunter alphas were the Krillian Empire's elite warriors. Each one was a living weapon, evolved over millions of years to be the perfect solo predator. They had never been defeated in single combat. 6 hunter alpha ships detached from the main fleet and headed toward Earth. Each one carried a warrior that had terrorized entire star systems. But they were about to discover that Americans had been preparing for their arrival. Major Lisa Rodriguez crouched in the cargo bay of a modified space shuttle, checking her equipment one last time. Around her, 11 other members of Delta Force made their final preparations. "Remember the plan," she said to her team. "These aliens are supposed to be the ultimate individual hunters. Our job is to show them what American teamwork can accomplish." The shuttle drifted through space, appearing to be nothing more than debris from an old satellite. Its engines were cold, its electronics silent. To Krillian sensors, it looked like space junk. Hunter Alpha Vex studied the human orbital facilities through his ship's viewports. The prey species had built stations and platforms around their world, but none of them seemed to be defended. "Soft targets," he clicked to himself. "This will be easier than hunting Velothi younglings." He selected a communications relay station and moved his ship into position for boarding. The Hunter Alpha's preferred method was to board enemy vessels and hunt the crew through their own corridors. As his ship docked with the human station, Vex activated his personal armor and weapons. He was 8 feet of chitinous nightmare, armed with energy claws and equipped with sensors that could track prey through solid walls. What he found inside the station confused him. There were no humans. The corridors were empty, the lights dim, but his sensors detected 12 life forms hiding in the station's depths. "Ah," he clicked with satisfaction. They huddled together in fear. This will be entertaining. Vex began his hunt, moving through the corridors with the patience of a natural predator. He had all the time in the universe to track down his prey. He never suspected that the prey was hunting him. Major Rodriguez and her team had been waiting in the station for 3 days. They knew everything about the facility's layout, every vent and access tunnel, every blind spot and ambush point. "Target is in Corridor 7, whispered Sergeant Kim through the comm system. "Moving toward Section C." "Roger that," Rodriguez replied. Teams 2 and 3 moved to intercept positions. Team 1 with me. The Delta Force operators moved through the station like ghosts, using passages that Vex didn't even know existed. They had studied Krillian anatomy from the scout ship wreckage and knew exactly how to hurt these aliens. Vex rounded a corner and found himself facing an empty corridor. His sensors told him that humans had been here moments before, but now there was nothing. Where did they go? He wondered aloud. The answer came from above. Major Rodriguez dropped through a ceiling panel directly onto the alien's back. While her team members emerged from side passages with weapons drawn, Vex spun around, his claws sparking with energy. But the humans were already moving. They fought as a unit, covering each other's movements and attacking from multiple angles. The Hunter Alpha had never faced anything like it. Individual prey he could handle, but these humans moved like parts of a single organism, anticipating each other's actions and working together with deadly efficiency. Impossible, he clicked as human weapons found the weak points in his armor. How do they move so fast? Practice, Major Rodriguez replied as she placed a shaped charge against the alien's chest. Lots and lots of practice. The explosion echoed through the station. When the smoke cleared, Hunter Alpha Vex was down, his armor cracked, and his weapons scattered. Control, this is Rodriguez, the Major reported. Package secured. One very surprised alien hunter ready for pickup. Similar scenes played out across the solar system as American Special Forces engaged the other Hunter Alphas. Navy SEALs boarded alien ships in the middle of space battles. Army Rangers set ambushes in asteroid mining facilities. Marine Force, recon teams hunted the hunters through the corridors of space stations. Within 12 hours, all 6 Hunter Alpha warriors had been captured or killed. Not a single American casualty. On the Krillian flagship, War Commander Skix stared at his tactical display in growing horror. His elite hunters, warriors who had never been defeated, had been systematically eliminated by human prey. How is this possible? He demanded. War Commander, his communications officer reported. We are receiving a transmission from the humans. Put it through. General Hayes appeared on the main screen, speaking from the Pentagon. War Commander Skix, this is General Patricia Hayes, United States Armed Forces. We have something that belongs to you. The screen split to show the captured Hunter Alpha warriors, all of them bound and under guard by grinning American soldiers. Your move, bug boy, Hayes said with a smile that showed entirely too many teeth. Want to try for double or nothing? War Commander Skix stared at the human general on his screen, his compound eyes reflecting the cold rage of a predator that had been humiliated. Around him, the bridge crew waited in tense silence for his response. You dare mock the Krillian Empire? He clicked in fury. We are the apex predators of this galaxy. General Hayes smiled that terrifying human smile. Were, past tense. As of today, there's a new apex predator in town. Impossible, you are prey. You hide behind technology and tricks. No, Hayes replied calmly. We adapt. It's what we do best. Skix cut the transmission and turned to his officers. Prepare the fleet for full assault. We will show these humans what real predators can accomplish. But as the Krillian ships moved toward Earth, they found themselves facing something no prey species had ever possessed. A coordinated military response designed by 8 billion apex predators working together. The battle for Earth began at dawn, Pacific time. 50 Krillian warships descended on the planet like falling stars, their energy weapons turning night into day. They expected to find a helpless world cowering before their might. Instead, they found a trap. The first wave of Krillian fighters screamed down through Earth's atmosphere, targeting major cities. As they dove toward New York, a flight of F-22 Raptors rose to meet them. Captain Maria Santos pulled her fighter into a vertical climb, watching the alien craft on her instruments. Control, this is Falcon Leader, engaging bandits over Manhattan. Copy, Falcon Leader. Light them up. What followed was not a battle, it was a demonstration. The human pilots had studied every piece of Krillian technology recovered from the scout ships. They knew the aliens' weapons, their flight patterns, their tactical preferences. The Krillian fighters were fast and heavily armed, but they were designed for hunting individual prey, not fighting coordinated squadrons of trained pilots. Falcon 2, break left, Santos called as she rolled her F-22 into an impossible turn. Falcon 3, you have a shot. The alien fighters fell from the sky like burning meteors. Their pilots, elite hunters who had terrorized a dozen star systems, found themselves outmaneuvered and outgunned by human prey they had dismissed as primitive. Similar scenes played out over every major city on Earth. London, Tokyo, Moscow, Los Angeles. Wherever the Krillians attacked, They found American pilots waiting for them with weapons that shouldn't have been possible. But the real surprise came when the Krillian capital ships tried to establish orbital superiority. Admiral Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the USS Enterprise, humanity's first space-capable aircraft carrier. The massive ship hung in orbit above Earth, its flight decks launching squadron after squadron of modified fighters. "Admiral," reported her tactical officer. "Krillian dreadnought approaching from bearing 270. She's big, ma'am." 3 times our size. "Size isn't everything, Commander. Launch the Hornets." The FA-18 Hornets that screamed away from the Enterprise looked like standard Navy fighters, but their missiles carried warheads reverse-engineered from Krillian technology. Human weapons powered by alien science. War Commander Skix watched from his flagship as his dreadnought engaged the human carrier. This should have been simple. One Krillian ship could easily destroy a dozen human vessels. But the humans didn't fight like any prey species the Krillians had ever encountered. The carrier launched fighter after fighter, each one carrying weapons that could actually hurt Krillian armor. Worse, they fought as a coordinated unit, covering each other and attacking from multiple directions. War Commander, his weapons officer, reported, "The Devastator is taking heavy damage. The humans are targeting her weapon arrays with surgical precision." "How do they know our weak points?" "Unknown, sir. It's as if they studied our ship designs." They had. American intelligence had been analyzing every piece of Krillian wreckage for weeks, identifying vulnerabilities and developing countermeasures. The Devastator, pride of the Krillian fleet, broke apart under concentrated human fire. As it exploded, Admiral Rodriguez opened a channel to the remaining alien ships. "Attention, Krillian vessels. This is Admiral Sofia Rodriguez, United States Navy. You are in violation of Earth's territorial space. Surrender now or be destroyed." The response was predictable. The Krillians came straight at the human fleet with everything they had. It was exactly what the Americans had been hoping for. "All ships," Rodriguez broadcast, "execute Order 66. Across the solar system, human ships that had been playing dead suddenly came to life. Hidden missile platforms emerged from asteroid fields. Submarines that had been drifting in the void powered up their weapons. The Krillian fleet found itself surrounded by an enemy that had turned the entire solar system into a hunting ground. "Impossible!" Skix clicked as his tactical display lit up with hundreds of human contacts. Where did they all come from? The answer was simple. Americans had been preparing for this fight since the moment they learned about the Krillian Empire. Every military base on Earth had been converted to support space operations. Every submarine had been fitted with rockets. Every fighter pilot had been trained for zero-gravity combat. The United States military had done what it did best, adapt to a new threat and figure out how to destroy it. The battle lasted 6 hours. When it was over, the Krillian Empire's finest fleet was nothing but scrap metal drifting in Earth's orbit. War Commander Skix himself was pulled from the wreckage of his flagship by a team of Navy SEALs. "Well, look what we caught," said Chief Petty Officer Johnson as they dragged the alien commander aboard their assault craft. The biggest bug in the jar. 3 days later, Pack Leader Fenris arrived at Earth with a Vorth fleet of 30 ships. But instead of coming as potential enemies, they came to witness the aftermath of the greatest hunt in galactic history. Fenris stood on the bridge of his flagship, studying the debris field that had once been the Krillian war fleet. His yellow eyes gleamed with something approaching awe. "Magnificent," he growled to his officers. "The humans have done what no species has accomplished in 3,000 years. They have broken the Krillian Empire." "What are your orders, Pack Leader?" asked his second-in-command. "Signal the human fleet. Request permission to come aboard their command ship. I wish to speak with these apex predators personally." The meeting took place aboard the USS Enterprise. Pack Leader Fenris, standing 7 feet tall and radiating predatory power, faced General Hayes and Admiral Rodriguez in the ship's conference room. "You have impressed my people," Fenris said without preamble. "The Vorth Consortium wishes to propose an alliance." "What kind of alliance?" asked Hayes. "A partnership between apex predators. You have proven that humans are the dominant hunters in this galaxy. The Vorth would be honored to serve as your pack brothers. Admiral Rodriguez leaned forward. What does that mean exactly? It means the Vorth worlds will recognize human authority. In exchange, we ask only that you allow us to join your hunts. Together, we could rule this galaxy. General Hayes shook her head. We don't want to rule the galaxy. We just want our freedom to explore it. Fenris laughed, showing sharp white teeth. Even better. A species so confident in its abilities that it doesn't need to dominate others. You are truly the apex predators. Word of humanity's victory spread across the galaxy faster than light. On every council world, prey species huddled in their homes and tried to understand what had happened. The Krillian Empire, which had terrorized. The galaxy for millennia had been destroyed in a single battle by a species that had only reached space a few centuries ago. High Chancellor Marin called an emergency session of the Galactic Council. When the delegates assembled, they found a new seat at the table, one occupied by General Hayes herself. Honored Council, Marin said, her voice trembling with fear and uncertainty. We must discuss the situation with the human species. The situation is simple, Hayes replied. The quarantine is over. Humanity is claiming its place in galactic society. But you are predators, protested Delegate Quicks of the Corthans. You will hunt us. Hayes looked around the table at the assembled prey species. Actually, we won't. You're not challenging enough to be interesting. The blunt honesty of the statement was somehow more terrifying than any threat. What do you want from us? Asked Chancellor Marin. Trade agreements, cultural exchange, tourist visas, the same things any species wants. And if we refuse, Hayes smiled that human smile, then you'll miss out on some very profitable opportunities. But that's your choice. 6 months later, the galaxy had settled into a new reality. The human flag flew over embassies on dozens of worlds. American hunting lodges advertised galactic safari packages for adventure tourists. The Pentagon had established the Interstellar Hunting Corps, elite units trained to track and capture the galaxy's most dangerous creatures. In the former Krillian territories, human colonists were building new settlements. The prey species of the Council had discovered that humans made excellent protectors, as long as you stayed on their good side. Admiral Sarah Chen stood on the observation deck of Deep Space Station Armstrong, humanity's first permanent outpost, beyond the solar system. Through the massive windows, she could see human ships coming and going, carrying explorers, traders, and yes, hunters to every corner of the galaxy.
The silver probe drifted silently through Earth's upper atmosphere, invisible to human radar. Inside, Zartik flexed his 6 digits as he studied the data streams. As chief xenobiologist of the Galactic Survey Corps, he had classified over 300 planets in his career. Earth would be just another entry in the vast catalog of worlds. Such primitive technology, Zartik muttered, his outer membrane rippling with mild disgust. They still burn fossil fuels. Their vehicles barely reach their own moon. His assistant, Lieutenant Vexera, moved closer to the viewing screen. Unlike his superior, Vexera found the blue planet fascinating. But sir, look at their rate of advancement. From basic flight to space travel in less than a century. Zartik waved his hand dismissively. Many species advance quickly at first, then plateau. These humans spend more resources fighting each other than exploring space. The probe's sensors captured images of cities, highways, and military bases. It recorded television broadcasts, radio signals, and internet traffic. Every aspect of human civilization was measured, categorized, and assessed for potential threat level. Physical assessment complete, announced the ship's computer. Humans possess no natural armor, minimal sensory range, no offensive biological weapons, and limited lifespans. Zartik nodded in satisfaction. As expected, low threat designation confirmed. Vexera frowned, his skin turning a deeper shade of blue. Sir, with respect, I noticed some unusual adaptations. Their endurance exceeds many Class 3 species, and their problem-solving abilities are irrelevant without the technology to pose an interstellar threat. Zartik interrupted. The classification system is clear. They cannot reach nearby star systems. They have no energy weapons. Their strongest military powers remain divided by primitive cultural differences. Vexera wanted to argue further but knew his place. Still, something about these humans bothered him. They showed remarkable adaptability, and their unusual habit of bonding with other species, keeping animals as companions rather than food or tools, suggested a capacity for connection across biological divides. Such traits were rare in the galaxy. Final classification. The computer prompted. Zartik didn't hesitate. Earth. Low threat. Minimal spacefaring potential. Note their tendency towards self-destruction. Mark for standard follow-up in 50 years. The classification was transmitted instantly to the Galactic Registry, where it would guide all official interactions with Earth. Zartik had no way of knowing that his routine assessment would prove to be the greatest error in the history of the Survey Corps. As the alien probe completed its mission, astronaut Jack Miller floated inside the International Space Station, his eyes fixed on a computer screen showing unusual data patterns. "You seeing this, Linda?" he radioed to Earth. Dr. Linda Carter sat in NASA's control room, her brow furrowed as she studied the same pattern. As the agency's top astrophysicist, she recognized something extraordinary when she saw it. "I'm seeing it, Jack. Definitely not natural." The signal appeared for only 3 minutes before vanishing. It came from the edge of Earth's atmosphere, a location where nothing should be orbiting. "Should we report this through channels?" Jack asked. Linda hesitated. Strange signals meant paperwork, committees, and months of bureaucracy. By then, whatever caused it would be long gone. "Not yet," she decided. "Let's get Sam to look at it first." Sam Wright was the closest thing NASA had to a genius. Officially, he worked in engineering. Unofficially, he solved problems no one else could. 3 hours later, the three colleagues connected on a private channel. "It's artificial," Sam confirmed after analyzing the data, "but unlike anything in our database." "Meaning?" Jack asked. "Meaning it's not one of ours," Linda said quietly. "And if it's not ours?" None of them needed to finish the thought. Something non-human had visited Earth's orbit, undetected by global defense systems. While Zartik's probe left the solar system, confident in its assessment of a harmless planet, 3 humans began an investigation that would change everything. The galaxy had overlooked humanity's greatest strength: curiosity in the face of the unknown. 2 years later, when the harvesters arrived in Earth's orbit, they came expecting easy conquest. After all, the official registry marked this world as low threat. It was a classification the galaxy would soon regret. The harvester ship emerged from hyperspace with a flash of blue light. Commander Drez stood on the bridge, his scaled skin reflecting the glow of Earth on the main screen. His species had conquered dozens of worlds marked low threat in the Galactic Registry. Earth would be no different. "Beautiful planet," said his second-in-command. "Rich in minerals, water, and organic material." Drez nodded. "The survey data suggests minimal resistance capability. Prepare a small landing force. Standard resource acquisition protocols." In the harvester culture, efficiency was everything. Why waste a full invasion fleet on primitives? The ship's computer selected Wyoming as an ideal first landing site. Low population density, abundant natural resources, and isolated enough to establish operations before the natives could organize a response. 12 hours later, 3 harvester landing craft descended through Earth's atmosphere under cover of darkness. They touched down in a remote valley surrounded by mountains. The aliens emerged, confident in their superior technology and the low-threat classification that promised easy conquest. Sheriff Kate Walsh was driving her usual night patrol when she saw the strange lights in the sky. At first, she thought they might be meteors, but meteors didn't move like that. She radioed the station. "Jerry, I'm checking out something strange near Pine Ridge. Send backup if I don't call in within 30 minutes. Kate drove toward the valley, her truck's headlights cutting through the darkness. When she reached the ridge overlooking the valley, she killed the engine and lights. What she saw below made her blood run cold. Creatures unlike anything she'd ever seen were unloading equipment from 3 craft that certainly weren't from Earth. Their skin gleamed like metal in the moonlight, and they moved with an unsettling grace. Kate snapped photos with her phone, then backed away slowly. This was way above her pay grade. Within hours, the U.S. military had established a perimeter around the valley. Colonel Frank Daniels, who had served in 3 wars, now faced an enemy from beyond the stars. He studied the reconnaissance photos with a grim expression. "They're setting up some kind of mining operation," he told his team. "We've counted only 27 aliens. Their weapons appear energy-based." "Why so few?" asked a young lieutenant. Colonel Daniels shrugged. "Maybe it's just a scouting party, or maybe they don't think they need more to handle us." The first military engagement with the aliens went poorly. Conventional bullets bounced off their armor. 3 helicopters were shot down by energy weapons. The aliens advanced, seemingly unstoppable. But humans are nothing if not adaptable. Kate Walsh, who knew the valley like the back of her hand, guided a small team through a network of caves that emerged behind the alien position. They couldn't penetrate the alien armor, but they could disrupt their operations. Meanwhile, Alan Garcia, who taught chemistry at the local high school, was working with military engineers to analyze fragments of alien material recovered from the battle site. "The molecular structure changes when exposed to certain acids," Alan explained, mixing chemicals in a makeshift lab. "I think we can create something that will eat through their armor." By the 3rd day, humans had improvised. Kate's knowledge of the terrain allowed soldiers to trap several aliens in a narrow canyon. Alan's chemical mixture proved effective against the alien armor when delivered via modified fire trucks. Commander Drez couldn't believe what was happening. These primitives were adapting to harvester technology at an impossible rate. His landing party had lost almost half its members to creatures that, according to the registry, could barely reach their own moon. He sent an urgent message to the harvester fleet waiting in orbit. Assessment incorrect. Humans employing unexpected tactics. Local knowledge of terrain providing strategic advantage. Request reinforcements immediately. On the harvester mothership, the fleet commander read Drez's report with disbelief. How could primitives be defeating their advance team? He ordered the deployment of the main invasion force. Clearly, the Galactic Survey Corps had made a serious error in their classification of Earth. As night fell over Wyoming, Colonel Daniels watched the skies with worried eyes. The first engagement had been difficult enough. If more ships were coming, Earth would need more than improvised weapons and local knowledge. They would need a miracle, or the kind of ingenuity that humans displayed when backed into a corner. News of the alien presence spread across the globe like wildfire. Panic was expected. Chaos was predicted. Instead, humanity surprised even itself. Within days, the world's nations formed an unprecedented alliance. Old enemies set aside decades of conflict to face this new threat. Scientists shared discoveries that would have been closely guarded secrets just weeks before. Engineer Olivia Rice stared at the alien device recovered from the Wyoming battlefield. The military had brought it to her lab in New Mexico after hearing about her work on experimental energy systems. "It's like nothing I've ever seen," she told her team as they carefully opened the casing. "But the principles make sense if you look at them the right way." Olivia had always seen connections where others saw only chaos. Now, as she studied the alien power source, she began to understand how it manipulated energy in ways human science had only theorized about. Across the country, physicist Dr. Grave Howard led a team analyzing the aliens' communication systems. 3 days without sleep had left him with bloodshot eyes and a perpetual coffee mug in hand. "They're using quantum entanglement for instant communication," he explained to military officials. "But their encryption is based on mathematical principles we've been studying for years. We can break it." What would have taken humanity decades to develop was being reverse-engineered in weeks. The desperation of survival proved to be a powerful motivator for innovation. In orbit, Lieutenant Vexera watched these developments with growing alarm. After the classification error became apparent, he had been assigned to monitor Earth while the Galactic Council decided how to respond. What he saw astonished him. "They're adapting our technology at an impossible rate," he reported to his superiors. "The humans have already replicated basic elements of harvester energy weapons. Their grasp of theoretical concepts is far beyond what their development level suggested." His warnings were noted but not prioritized. After all, many species showed surprising resistance when first contacted. It was merely a temporary setback for the harvesters, who had never failed to conquer a world once they set their sights on it. Meanwhile, Linda Carter's team had made their own breakthrough. The strange signal they had detected before the invasion now made perfect sense. "It's their cloaking technology," Linda explained to Jack Miller via secure video link. Jack had returned from the space station to join Earth's defense efforts. Every time they engage their cloaking devices, there's a specific energy signature. We can detect their invisible ships. Sam Wright, working alongside them, had already built a prototype detector. "It's rough," he admitted, adjusting the device's settings. "But it works. We can see what they don't want us to see." As the detector came online, the room fell silent. The screen showed not just the few harvester ships they had observed with conventional radar, but dozens more hidden in Earth's orbit. An invasion fleet was assembling, far larger than anyone had suspected. On the harvester command ship, Commander Drez prepared his forces for a full-scale attack. The humans had proven surprisingly resilient, but they were still primitives facing a spacefaring empire. The outcome was inevitable. "Target their major population centers," he ordered. "Overwhelm them with numbers. They may have clever tactics, but they cannot stand against our full might." The harvester fleet moved into position, unaware that their every movement was now being tracked by Linda's team, unaware that Olivia Reyes had already developed countermeasures based on their own technology, unaware that Dr. Howard had broken their communication codes. Most dangerously, they remained unaware of humanity's greatest weapon, adaptability. While the harvesters had conquered many worlds, they had never faced a species that could evolve their tactics and technology so rapidly. Lieutenant Vexera sent one final warning to the Galactic Council: request immediate intervention. Human adaptation rate exceeds all known parameters. This is no longer a simple harvesting operation. If they master our technology, they will not stop at defense. His message was filed away, one more report among thousands. By the time the Council realized its importance, it would be too late. The sky lit up as harvester ships entered Earth's atmosphere. Their energy weapons carved glowing paths through the clouds as they descended toward major cities. Commander Drez watched from orbit, certain this overwhelming show of force would break human resistance within days. He was wrong. As the first wave of ships approached New York, they met something unexpected: a shield of energy that matched their own technology. Olivia Reyes' team had adapted the alien power systems into defensive barriers that now protected key locations. "The shields are holding," Olivia reported from her control center beneath the Pentagon. Sweat beaded on her forehead as she monitored power levels. "But we can't keep this up forever." Around the world, similar shields protected other cities. It wasn't a perfect defense, but it bought precious time. Colonel Frank Daniels stood before a room of soldiers from a dozen countries. Some had been enemies just weeks ago. Now they were humanity's Special Forces team. "We know their ships, thanks to the data from Linda Carter's team," Frank said, pointing to holographic displays of harvester vessels. "We know their weapons, thanks to Dr. Howard's analysis. Now we take the fight to them." The plan was audacious. While the aliens expected humans to cower behind their shields, Frank's international team would board a harvester ship. Sheriff Kate Walsh, who had trapped aliens in Wyoming, had developed tactics that exploited the aliens' overconfidence and rigid thinking. "They always follow the same patterns," she explained. "They never expect you to attack directly because they think we're too afraid." Sam Wright had created special equipment for the mission. His EMP devices were specifically calibrated to harvester systems, designed to disable rather than destroy. "We need their ship intact," he reminded the team, "and preferably some of them alive for questioning." As the strike team prepared, something unexpected happened across the planet. Civilians joined the fight in ways no military had planned. In rural Iowa, farmers modified tractors with salvaged alien tech, creating machines that could disrupt harvester ground forces. In Tokyo, teenage hackers discovered weaknesses in alien communication systems. In Brazil, indigenous guides led soldiers through rainforests to ambush alien mining operations. The harvesters, used to conquering worlds through overwhelming force, found themselves fighting an enemy that seemed to be everywhere at once. Jason Kim was only 17, a high school student with a talent for computers. When harvesters landed near his hometown in Oregon, he didn't run. Instead, he gathered his friends from the coding club. "Their communication uses patterns," he told them, showing the alien signals he'd recorded on his modified radio. "It's not that different from programming languages. If we can understand it, maybe we can speak it too." Within hours, Jason's team had created a program that sent false orders to harvester ground troops. Aliens marched in circles or returned to their ships, confused by commands that seemed to come from their leaders. On the harvester command ship, Commander Drez faced a mutiny. His officers couldn't understand how primitives were countering their technology so effectively. "This defies all protocols," his second-in-command argued. "We should withdraw and request a full Galactic Council assessment." "Retreat is not an option," Drez insisted. "They are just clever animals. They cannot sustain this resistance." At that moment, Colonel Frank's team breached the hull of a harvester troop carrier. Using tactics developed by Kate Walsh and equipment created by Sam Wright, they overwhelmed the surprised aliens in minutes. For the first time in recorded history, a harvester vessel was captured intact by a target species. As Frank's team secured the ship, Dr. Howard and Olivia Reyes joined them, eager to study alien technology directly. Commander Drez received the news with disbelief. It shouldn't have been possible. No low-threat species had ever taken a harvester ship. His communication to the Galactic Council was no longer confident but desperate. Classification catastrophically wrong. Humans are not primitive. They are nightmares. As the message traveled across space, the Council remained unaware that humans were already deciphering the ship's navigation systems. Earth was no longer just defending. It was preparing to take the fight beyond its own solar system. The Grand Hall of the Galactic Council fell silent as the recordings played. Hundreds of alien diplomats from across the galaxy watched footage of humans fighting harvesters. Many had never heard of Earth before today. Now they couldn't look away. The council leader, an ancient being with crystalline skin, raised a hand to pause the recording. "Is this verified?" she asked. "Completely," confirmed the chief intelligence officer. "The harvesters have suffered their first defeat in over 300 years." The recording continued. It showed humans continuing to fight despite injuries that would incapacitate most species. It showed them adapting harvester technology within days, not the centuries it should have taken. Most disturbing of all, it showed them working together across their entire planet, setting aside deep divisions in the face of a common threat. Lieutenant Vexera stood before the council, his earlier warnings now proven correct. "I observed unusual adaptability during the initial survey," he explained. "But the classification system had no category for their particular talents." "Show us your complete analysis," the council leader ordered. Vexera displayed graphs of human technological advancement. "Most species follow a predictable development curve," he explained. "Humans do not. They advance in bursts, driven by conflict and necessity. The harvester invasion created perfect conditions for explosive advancement." The council members watched with growing concern as Vexera showed humans reverse engineering alien technology, improving it, and deploying it within weeks. "How did they defeat harvester armor?" asked a military advisor. "A high school teacher created a chemical compound," Vexera replied. "A teacher, not a military scientist. Murmurs spread through the hall. Such innovation from non-specialists was unheard of. The recording showed more disturbing scenes. Humans using psychological warfare, setting traps based on harvester behavior patterns, and demonstrating cooperation between different countries, professions, and ages. Even human children had contributed to the war effort. The greatest concern, Vexra continued, is their understanding of our technology. They've already grasped the principles of faster-than-light travel. At their current rate of advancement, they will achieve interstellar capability within months, not decades. The Council leader's crystalline skin darkened with stress. Recommendations. Immediate containment, said the military advisor. We must prevent them from leaving their solar system at all costs. I concur, said the intelligence officer. Their threat classification must be upgraded to extreme. Immediate containment required. No species has ever jumped categories so drastically. Dispatch diplomat Krenlo to negotiate Earth's quarantine, ordered the Council leader. Make them believe it's for their protection while we assemble a containment fleet. What the Council didn't know was that humans were already ahead of them. In a hidden facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Linda Carter and her team studied the navigation systems from the captured harvester ship. The principles are similar to what we theorized, she told the assembled scientists and military leaders. They're using a form of space-time manipulation that matches some of our quantum theories. NASA engineer Peter Gonzalez pointed to designs on a holographic display. We can retrofit their engines to our ships. The prototype is already under construction. President Diane Foster, who led the newly formed Earth Defense Council, studied the plans. How long until we have interstellar capability? Weeks, not months, Peter replied. We're not building from scratch. We're adapting existing technologies. In orbit, the remnants of the harvester fleet retreated from Earth, their commander still sending urgent messages about the human threat. They had no way of knowing that Lieutenant Vexra had begun to question his own loyalty to the Galactic Council. The more he learned about humans, the more he wondered if they might represent something the galaxy desperately needed: change. As diplomat Krenlo prepared to depart for Earth with his false peace offering, Vexra made a decision that would alter the course of galactic history. He secretly copied the complete files on Council military capabilities, containment protocols, and the locations of other emerging civilizations that might sympathize with Earth. The Council had upgraded Earth's threat level too late. The humans weren't just defending anymore. They were preparing to emerge onto the galactic stage, and nothing would ever be the same. Diplomat Krenlo's ship descended through Earth's atmosphere with deliberate slowness. His mission was critical: delay human advancement while the Council assembled its containment fleet. His ship broadcast peace signals on all frequencies as a gesture of goodwill. Earth's defense systems tracked his approach but held their fire. This was the first peaceful contact since the Harvester invasion, and world leaders had agreed to hear what this new alien had to say. Krenlo had prepared extensively. His species could change their skin color at will, and he had adjusted his to a calming blue shade. He had studied human body language and facial expressions. He had memorized comforting phrases in 12 Earth languages. His ship landed at a neutral site in Switzerland. President Diane Foster waited with Colonel Frank Daniels, Dr. Greg Howard, and a small team of advisors. Security was tight, but not visibly threatening. "Welcome to Earth," President Foster said as Krenlo emerged from his ship. "We hope your visit marks the beginning of peaceful relations." Krenlo bowed in what his research suggested was a respectful human gesture. "The Galactic Council extends greetings to your world. We come with regret that your first contact was with the Harvesters, who do not represent our shared values." His words were perfect, his manner gentle. But something felt off to Nurse Lisa Baker, who stood nearby as a medical observer. Her job was to monitor human health during alien contact, but her 20 years of reading patients gave her another skill: spotting lies. "Something's wrong with his body language," she whispered to Colonel Daniels. "See how his inner eyelids flicker when he mentions the Council. In humans, that's like a micro-expression. He's hiding something." The meeting moved to a conference room where Crenlo presented his offer. The Council wishes to share knowledge with Earth. We can help you recover from the Harvester attack. In exchange, we ask only that you limit your activities to your own solar system for now. The galaxy can be overwhelming for new species. Dr. Howard, who had spent weeks studying alien technology, asked pointed questions about faster-than-light travel. Crenlo's answers were vague, glossing over details that humans had already learned from the captured ship. President Foster noticed the evasions. You seem reluctant to discuss certain technologies, Diplomat Crenlo. Why is that? Crenlo's skin rippled slightly, a sign of stress his training couldn't fully suppress. Some technologies require cultural preparation. The Council provides guidance based on centuries of experience introducing species to the galactic community. Lisa Baker leaned forward, watching closely. His breathing pattern changed, she murmured, and his skin color shifted slightly at the molecular level. He's experiencing stress consistent with deception. Colonel Daniels decided on a direct approach. He placed images of Earth's prototype starship on the table. We're already building this. Is the Council's concern that we're advancing too quickly? Crenlo's composure slipped momentarily. His skin flashed a deep purple before returning to blue. That's impressive progress. But interstellar travel requires more than engines. There are protocols, treaties, designated travel lanes. Containment protocols, President Foster asked quietly. The room fell silent. Crenlo hadn't used that term. The fact that humans knew it meant they had information they shouldn't possess. Realizing his mission was compromised, Crenlo attempted damage control. The Council only wishes to prevent conflict. New species sometimes misunderstand galactic politics. We understand perfectly, President Foster said. The Council sees us as a threat and wants to contain us. The Harvesters saw us as resources to be harvested. Neither recognized us as equals. The meeting ended shortly after. Crenlo returned to his ship, deeply disturbed. In his report to the Council, he included a warning they had never received about any emerging species. Humans possess unsettling perceptive abilities. They detect deception across species boundaries. Their intuition defies our psychological models. As Crenlo's ship left Earth orbit, Linda Carter received an encrypted message from an unexpected source. Lieutenant Vexera had made contact, offering critical information about the Council's true intentions and military capabilities. Earth now faced a choice: wait for the Council's containment fleet to arrive, or take action that would forever change their place in the galaxy. The U.S. Defiance hovered above Earth, its sleek design unlike any ship humans had built before. Part Earth technology, part adapted harvester systems, it represented humanity's first true starship. Captain Eric Jones stood on the bridge, still amazed that he had been chosen to command this historic mission. All systems are ready, Captain, reported his second-in-command. Dr. Carter and her team have finished the final checks on the jump drive. Eric nodded. Tell them we launch in 30 minutes. The decision to take action, rather than wait for the Council's containment fleet, had been controversial. Some argued for patience, for more preparation. But the information Lieutenant Vexera provided had been clear. The Council was not coming to welcome Earth, but to imprison it. In the ship's science bay, Dr. Linda Carter and Sam Wright made final adjustments to the navigation system. The coordinates Vexera provided should take us directly to the Marin system. Linda explained. Their species has also suffered under Council restrictions. They might be willing to hear us out. And if they're not? Sam asked, tightening a connection. Then we have 5 other potential allies on our list, she replied. The galaxy is full of species who don't agree with the Council's hierarchy. The mission was diplomatically complex but strategically simple. Reach out to other species who might sympathize with Earth. Form alliances before the Council could isolate humanity. President Foster had been clear about their message. Equal representation for all species regardless of technological development, a radical concept in galactic politics. As the Defiance prepared to depart, the Galactic Council was in chaos. News of Earth's rapid advancement had spread, along with rumors about their successful defense against the harvesters. Several historically oppressed species saw potential allies in humans, while dominant powers pushed for immediate military action. "The containment fleet must launch now," insisted the military advisor. "Every day we delay gives them time to reach other systems." "With respect," countered a representative from a rim world, "perhaps we should consider why we fear them so much. They've shown no aggression except in self-defense." The council leader struggled to maintain order as the debate grew heated. Never had an emerging species caused such division among established powers. The humans' proposal of equal representation threatened the very foundation of galactic politics, where advancement level determined status. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Vexera had made the most difficult decision of his life. After providing Earth with critical intelligence, he could no longer return to his position. His ship approached the Defiance just before its scheduled departure. Lieutenant Vexera requests permission to come aboard, the communications officer told Captain Jones. Eric hesitated only briefly. "Grant permission." Security team to docking bay, respectful but cautious welcome. When Vexera boarded the human ship, he brought more than just his knowledge of council operations. He brought evidence of fundamental flaws in how species were classified, data that could shake the foundations of galactic governance. "Your classification as low threat was not just an error," he explained to the ship's leadership team. "It reveals the failure of our entire system. We measure technology, but ignore adaptability. We track weapons, but ignore cooperation. Earth proves the system is broken." As the Defiance prepared for its first faster-than-light jump, an unexpected communication came through. Commander Drez of the defeated harvesters requested to speak with Earth's leaders. "This is unusual," Linda whispered to Captain Jones. "The harvesters never negotiate." When the connection was established, Drez's message stunned everyone. "The Council will punish us for our failure at Earth. They will punish you for your success. Perhaps we have common cause against those who have used us both." Captain Jones shared a look with his officers. An alliance with the very beings who had tried to conquer Earth seemed unthinkable. Yet in the face of the Council's containment fleet, Earth needed every ally it could find. The Defiance activated its jump drive, disappearing from Earth's orbit in a flash of light. Humanity had taken its first step into galactic politics, armed with an unexpected strategy, uniting the oppressed against the powerful. The species that had been marked low threat was about to reshape the galaxy. The Galactic Council's containment fleet arrived at Earth 3 months after the Defiance's departure. It was an impressive armada, over 50 warships from the most powerful species in the galaxy. Their mission was simple: isolate Earth and prevent humans from spreading their dangerous ideas. What they found instead shocked them. Earth orbit was defended not only by human ships but vessels from 7 other species. Some, like the Marin, were known to the Council as minor players in galactic politics. Others, like the Harvesters, had never before allied with anyone. Standing together, they formed a defensive line that the Council fleet would struggle to break. The Council commander opened communications. "This is Commander Telv of the Galactic Authority. Earth has been designated a containment zone. All non-human vessels must withdraw immediately." Captain Eric Jones, now commanding Earth's small but growing fleet, responded. "This is Captain Jones of the human-led coalition of independent species. We reject your containment order." Earth's designation was based on a flawed classification system that the Council refuses to reform. What followed was not the quick victory the Council expected. The coalition ships carried technology that combined innovations from multiple species, all improved by human ingenuity. Lieutenant Vexera's knowledge of Council tactics proved invaluable, as the smaller fleet outmaneuvered the larger one. The battle lasted less than an hour. 3 Council ships were disabled, none destroyed. The coalition had made its point without unnecessary bloodshed. Commander Tell faced an impossible choice: escalate to full war or retreat. "This is unprecedented," he told his officers. They should not have been able to combine technologies so effectively. The humans seemed to be the key, his tactical officer observed. Each species alone was manageable. Together, with human coordination, there's something else entirely. The Council fleet withdrew to a safe distance. Within days, representatives from several Council species broke ranks, withdrawing support for the containment action. The images of former enemies fighting alongside humans had spread throughout the galaxy, inspiring other oppressed species. 1 year later, the Galactic Classification Board met in its Grand Hall. The agenda had only one item: the formal reclassification of Earth. The debate had been fierce, with traditionalists arguing for maintaining the containment policy and reformers pushing for a complete overhaul of the system. The final entry was a compromise. Earth, high threat, exceptional potential. But the classification system itself was being reformed under pressure from the growing human-led coalition of independent species. In her office aboard the space station Unity, Dr. Linda Carter studied the original low-threat classification report that had started everything. Lieutenant Vexra, now Earth's official ambassador to the coalition, stood beside her. "It's hard to believe this simple error changed the course of galactic history," Linda said. Vexra's skin shifted to a thoughtful shade of green. It wasn't just an error. It was the product of a system that measured the wrong things. You were never truly low threat. You were simply different in ways our metrics couldn't capture. Through the viewport, they watched ships from 23 species dock at the station. The coalition had grown beyond anyone's expectations. Even more surprising was that the harvesters, once feared across the galaxy, had become trade partners with Earth, exchanging resources peacefully instead of taking them by force. They did harvest something from Earth after all, Vexray observed. They harvested a new way of thinking. Below them, Earth glowed blue and green against the blackness of space. The planet that had been dismissed as insignificant now stood at the center of a galactic revolution. Human ships were departing daily to establish the first colonies beyond the solar system, carrying with them the radical idea that cooperation could be stronger than domination. In a small meeting room on the rebuilt Galactic Council station, a new classification system was being drafted. Instead of threat levels, it measured potential for contribution to the galactic community. Earth served as the model case, a civilization that had turned classifications upside down. The document ended with words that would become famous across the stars. Judge no species by what they are, but by what they might become. For the low threats of today may be the leaders of tomorrow.